What's good, man? It's your boy Juicy J, man. Shout out to Virtual Homework Podcast.
Konnichiwa, Shoshite Kasu Shukudai Parukasito I Yokoso Kyo wa Nihon Kokugai de Gemu o Shitadonore Toku Betsuna Episodo ga Arimasu. Watashi wa kore ni Guruguru Hankayu o Shio Shimashite. Shoshite ana ga kore o Rike Soruna Raba Anata wa Mien desu.
You're a fucking weeb. What the fuck are you doing? You fucking weeb. What
Listen,
are you doing?
It's a special occasion. I gotta do something a little bit different.
Is it really that special? Because you played like an anime game. All of a sudden you're like, you know what? You haven't seen my final form, and then like you're all of a sudden like
it's not
putting
like
the
I'm
Naruto
like,
headband on, and you're like actually doing a Naruto run like across the hall as you like trip and then like fall into your sink.
It's either that or like make random racist like oh noises throughout the entire fucking podcast.
Fucking breakfast
we're
at
not
Tiffany's
doing that.
podcast. Like let's not.
This is a video game podcast.
This is a video game podcast. What did you say? Did you say like Sam has like a butthole
You'll never
rash?
know.
I
We're gonna have to have our fans figure it
our
out.
Japanese speaking fans figure it out.
Yeah, dude. Mm-hmm.
Oh my god!
I'll send it to you later.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Like little do I know, he's like talking about how like you shouldn't get vaccinated. like extremely bad things to say.
like MK Ultra type shit.
Yeah, like oh no.
This is a video game podcast. I am Dana.
I'm Sam, and we play video games on this podcast, but actually no, video games is accurate because I definitely played multiple games this week. However, none of them were Metroid Dread. Did you play any Metroid Dread?
Yeah, I did. I played more Metroid Dread. I'm like 3/4 of the way through it. I'm playing it less and less. I find myself being like, oh yeah, I want to go play it, and then it's like, I'm just gonna shower and like fall asleep instead. It's like my perfect like I'm laying in bed and just want to like fuck off type game.
Do you think that one of the reasons why you're obviously playing the game for a podcast motivates you, but do you think it being in the zeitgeist and being kind of more of like a thing, like, do you think the world was hyping you up to play it? And now that like it's kind of a little bit like people aren't talking about it 24/7 like they used to. Do you think that you're just playing it less because of that?
Because I wasn't part of the zeitgeist for so long, not having Twitter. I'm still like struggling. It's like I'm an institutionalized man. I'm struggling to get accustomed to the real world of having everything thrown in my face. Like I'm back on Twitter, but it's like I'm not using it as much as I used to, and I'm just like I have to get used to it, you know?
Quit bragging, like Mr. I'm no longer addicted to social media.
Oh, well, I'm addicted to social media, but like
no longer like you could have like 8 addictions. You could be addicted to drinking while also be addicted to heroin. However,
yeah.
In your case, you're only addicted to drinking, Mr. Bragger over here.
I don't drink at all.
No, I'm just in this metaphor, okay? In this metaphor, Mr. Facebook God. Facebook nuts. God. What am I saying? What I'm trying to say is I've played no Metroid Dread. Instead, I played Bejeweled Twist for like 8 hours.
No big deal. It makes me feel better. I played Diablo 2 for at least 8 hours a day.
I don't know how you survived.
I'm actually at a point where I'm like trying to play other stuff. I played a little bit of Counter-Strike today. I did some surfing. I had some fun with it. I tried playing MapleStory yesterday, and it's like, yeah, it's MapleStory, and then I logged off.
It's a really good story, but it's a MapleStory. What I will say about do you think that Diablo 2 Remastered was less about playing a remastered version and more about the fact that like you have a bunch of people who are hyped about Diablo all playing Diablo together? Like hypothetically,
so here's the thing. I'll explain how this works. The reason why everyone is playing Diablo 2 and why everyone is so hyped for it is because the previous iteration of Diablo 2 was completely unplayable. And that was due to every single item being duped, which means through exploits and cheating, items were copied to an infinity, making no economy and everything worthless and just easy to get. 2, the old game, the original, was infested with bots, hacks, all this kind of stuff. That basically, if you weren't doing that thing, you straight up couldn't play the game. Botting was done by a majority of players, and this got rid of all that. so you can actually interact with other people. Straight up, most of the people who are playing Diablo 2 Resurrected right now would have been playing the old Diablo 2 if a lot of these things didn't exist and we could actually play with other people.
Yeah, that's what, like, hypothetically, even if these things still existed, but you had numbers that overwhelmed it, like, you had, like, 10 million people who, like, started playing Diablo 2 all at the same time because they just felt like it, like, would it be a similar experience, you think?
Yeah, absolutely. But it's better because there's so much more quality of life, and it's looks a million times better, and I am having fun with it, and everyone who's playing is having fun with it, and we are looking forward to the first ladder season to do the same thing all over again.
It's too bad it's really boring, though, right?
Fuck you.
It's too bad it's, like, a pretty boring game. The thing
You
is...
literally played a million hours of Bejeweled twist your nipples off.
I don't twist my nipples off. This fat Santa man twists his nipples, and I don't think he's twisting them off.
I screamed Japanese at us for the first, like, 2 minutes of this intro. What did we play this week?
We played... Let me get this ready because we got a little bit of a mouthful on our hand. It's like, remember when we played that one like Phoenix game, and it's like we got a long title. That's all I'm trying to say. We played Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, The Hinokami Chronicles. It's the same. It's like Demon Slayer translated Demon Slayer, The Hinokami Chronicles.
I don't know what that means.
It's the Chronicles of Hinokami. I don't know what that means either. Maybe I should. Maybe I should have beat this game, but I didn't. Maybe it was explained. That's all I'm trying to say. We played Demon Slayer for the PC. There's a new Demon Slayer game. It's been released in Japan for a couple months. They finally ported it over to worldwide audiences and mobile. And now it's on Steam. It's coming out on Steam on October 15th. We've been playing it, and it's a game. I honestly, so the thing is, this is really weird. This
is like a really weird pick.
Yeah, it's out of nowhere, and we've been playing a lot of new games, so maybe it was part of it.
Out of nowhere. So
it's out of fucking nowhere.
Well, you were watching a little bit of the anime, haven't you?
I was watching it because of this, because the thing is, like, I don't know why, but, like, I'm a person who hates advertisements. I hate them so fucking much. But I was like, you know what? This $70 game entices me. Why is this game that's coming out in 2 months for Demon Slayer, which I've never watched, why do I want to play this so bad? So, like, I put it on my backlog months ago. And I'm like, I think I actually sent you if I search Demon Slayer in our Discord, I sent you this shit on July 18th. 2021, I sent you a message. I've never seen so many ads for a game shoved down my throat than Demon Slayer, Kimetsu no Yaiba, The Hinokami Chronicles.
Oh, yeah, I remember getting a shit ton of ads for it as well.
Yeah, so I'm like, you know what, fuck it. We're going to just buy into the ad campaign, put this on our wish list, playing it on the podcast. Now you know why I picked this game. I watched part of the Demon Slayer anime just so I could play this game. The thing is, I only got like 5 episodes deep, so I actually think I've gotten way more Demon Slayer lore from this game than the anime itself. But
let me start from the beginning and let's explain what the fuck Demon Slayer even is. People are like, what?
No one's like, what? Demon Slayer, like, if you have any semblance of like what anime is, isn't Demon Slayer like one of the most popular animes in like the past 5 years?
Okay, so Demon Slayer basically is a story of Tanjiro Kamado, who is living in, like old school Japan, the same, era.
I'm going to say like early 1900s Japan, because they have electricity. They just have
probably like 1900s Japan and stuff like that. He's living in a very rural era in the mountains with his family, and his family is completely massacred by demons. His sister Nezuko is turned into a demon somehow, and for whatever reason, she is not affected by the demon changing and has human emotions. As this all goes down, some dude shows up. He's like, yo, I'm a demon slayer. My job is to kill demons. I'm going to kill your sister. And Tanjiro's like, yo, don't do that. She's not evil. And then she's like, not. So then she spares her and is like, yo, you want to become a demon slayer? Go to demon slayer school and become a demon slayer. And that's what he does. And this is following his story of becoming and being a demon slayer.
And then, like, so spoilers a little bit, but at the end of the show, he becomes the Hokage.
This is a fucking worst joke I've ever heard in my life.
It's a great joke because this is basically Naruto.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same formula as most every anime. It has like the horrible tragedy that turns into like the training arc that turns into like the he's growing, but it's like but he's not.
It's a shonen anime. What can we say? I mean, that's Demon Slayer. And without going too heavy into the plot, it just progresses. He's a demon slayer, and he goes through the demon slayer ranks. The funny thing is, though, is like, yes, we can go into this game as like what it is. It's a fighting game with some, like, I guess, narrative elements. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if you are looking to watch Demon Slayer, come turn off the podcast or skip to the section where we don't talk about games anymore, because this is we played a visual novel this week, right?
Yeah, this game is essentially it's essentially a 1-for-1 retelling of the anime.
It's like 0.75 for 1. They just omit certain scenes from the anime, and you could view them later as like quote unquote DLC that you like unlock.
It's a slightly worse version of, well, not like slightly worse. It's like a pretty much completely worse version of the anime, because it's like 3D animated. Like, one of the selling points of the actual anime is how well it's animated. Like, some of these scenes are fucking beautiful, and that kind of like cuts out the charm from that, because it's, you know,
I mean, yeah, CGI, at the end of the day, it's
that.
Machinima. It's like we were watching Red versus Blue version of Demon Slayer. But
like 90% of this game is cutscene explaining like the story and the characters.
When we say 90% of this game is cutscene, like literally, like you're in a cutscene sequence for like 30 minutes, and then you get to walk somewhere, and then you have another 30 minutes of cutscene. This is basically a visual novel where you're just going through dialogue. And yeah, it is all machinima acted, but what I want to note is, because like, yeah, it looks worse than the hand-drawn anime sprites, but I think this game actually looks phenomenal. I don't know about you.
It looks really good and stuff like that, but just to compare it to the actual anime, like it does it a disservice. You're better off just doing that, because just the medium isn't able to portray some of the things that made the anime as good as it did, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I don't think there's any media that uses like 3D model work, like, or I guess like there's like literally like Toy Story and stuff, but like when you think of like Unity models, there's nothing that like looks so amazing in that. But what I will say is, like, I have a very unique perspective on this, and it's due to the fact that like I haven't really completed the Demon Slayer anime. I feel like, as someone playing this game who hasn't watched the Demon Slayer anime, because Demon Slayer as an anime is pretty good, I think I enjoyed this game more than someone who's already played or already watched Demon Slayer.
I'm sure, because the story is fucking sick. Like,
the story is sick. This game is not sick. I'm willing to admit that.
No, this game is like super, super overrated.
Okay, actually, it is overrated, because for some reason this has very positive reviews on Steam.
Super mediocre.
That's the better way to put it. Yeah.
So like,
no one's saying this game is great.
It's a fighting game, like we said, that's in between like 45 minutes of cutscene. You'll have like a 10-second fight, because every single fight in this game is bare bones so fucking easy. You can literally just press square and triangle every single fight in this fucking game. Like, it is
pressing
impossible.
Y and X? Okay.
Yeah, so whatever. I use a PlayStation controller.
Did you? Did you not use your Stadia one?
No, you remember the controls thing is fucked up?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I thought you got a new one.
I still need to send it in. I've just been
Send
lazy.
it in! Come on!
I know.
Mr. Gaming Podcast over here.
Yeah, in between like 30 minutes cutscene, you have like one 20-second fight, and then in between that, every once in a while, you'll have a like wander around a city segment that is just like the most garbage waste of time, just filler content ever.
I feel like they were really like, oh, our fucking environments look so fucking good, you're gonna just want to look at it and marvel in awe. It's like, no,
it looks all right.
Where you just literally walk to another person, and like, I have qualms with this game, but I feel like I want to say, like, it's weirdly enough,
it just seems like the word to describe it is fan service. It's like all it is.
I don't even know if fan service is the right way, because like, first of all, obviously there's the tone of fan service where it's just like boob, but like
there's also like, oh, you can like talk to like the NPC and he'll be, oh, I like this town. This town is cool, and because of that you unlock a picture of Nezuko. Like,
true, but like when I think of fan service, I think of something that like makes people who are already fans of the media, like it like appeals to them. And like, for example, like obviously if you're watching Naruto, every single time like Naruto goes, believe it, or I'm gonna be the Hokage, it's like, oh shit, he said the line. And like, this is like literally a 1-for-1 recreation of the Demon Slayer anime. Okay, it's not 1-for-1, but it's basically 1-for-1 to the point where I feel like it actually isn't great for fans unless they like already wanted to rewatch the anime, because it's like it's not like fan service.
If you look at the reviews, it's like all like, oh my god, I love Demon Slayer.
It's very positive. It's like Hinata. What's her name? Hinata. I'm really bad with anime names. It's like, she's bae. oh my god, these anime women are my waifus, and it's like, yeah, okay, I guess that's, of course you're gonna give this a positive review because it's your anime and they made a game about it.
But let's as far as the fighting mechanics go, this probably is some of the most dumbed down fighting out of any game I have ever played. So almost every character plays
me, right?
Well, it's fine for. I mean, I'm not even a fighter guy myself. It's fine for casuals and stuff like that, which I think this is what this is going for. Like, this game is straight up just a cash grab, in my opinion. Like 100%, it's $70.
So the thing is, it's actually 60, but we got some DLC content,
which is completely just.
Yeah, we shouldn't have done that.
Yeah. So the fighting consists of you pressing square and triangle, and like that's it. You might do like right bumper and triangle, but it's like there's no combos. There's just like, you're like, all right, well, I'm using my square ability into my bumper, triangle ability into my triangle ability, and then like that's it, you know? There's no like, you know, like a half circle X, you know, triangle, you know, like some of like the better fighting games have and things like that. And pretty much every character will play pretty close to identical, minus like one or two abilities that might be slightly different. But like, I think your abilities, you only have like 5 or 6 different attacks. Like, it's very, very bare bones.
As a fighting game, which is how this game should be judged, because like honestly, like every single fighting game has a campaign, but you're not judging Street Fighter V by the fucking campaign. You're judging it as a fighting game. Or like, even like a better example is, I think this team made the Naruto like a Naruto fighting game series. You know what I'm talking about? Like Naruto Shippuden, like Max 3 or whatever. So as a fighting game, yeah, you are correct in that it's extremely repetitive. This game is very combo based. So like basically once you have someone in like a combo lock, you're going to get like 30 fucking hits on them. Yeah. And then they're eventually just gonna like, oh, I lost half my health. I guess I'm just going to lose.
Yeah.
There's that part. And then there's also, this game is like kind of weird with like its joysticks. Like very slight movements in joysticks will like completely change a move. But at the same time, like, there isn't enough here to like really have deep mechanics. I played online a little bit. Did you play any online?
Yeah, I played a couple like one online game.
And like I won multiple matches by just like spamming one attack. I mean, you could do that in every single fighting game, but it seemed pretty easy. And certain characters also had, like, if you have a more overpowered Y or the top button, I don't know what that is on a PS.
Yeah, like Tanjiro, I feel like had like a really, really good.
Is that the old guy?
Y. Yeah.
Yeah, the old guy is over. Like, there isn't that much balance. Also, I'll say that much. But I feel like we could emphasize enough that this game is not super great as a fighting game, which is literally what it is. But yeah, if you have a really powerful upper button move, you're pretty much going to be able to dominate. I really don't see any meta here. I will say, as a matchmaking service, like this game was absolutely garbage. Like, it
was terrible. The online games I played were so fucking laggy, and it canceled out. Like, it was like, oh, join
90% of the time. I thought I was completely broken. Yeah. Like, I literally tried
it
for like
took
an
me
hour to get into versus mode.
Yeah, it took me like 10 or 15 minutes to get into a game.
And the only way I got into a game, like, I feel like, so first of all, there is a bug with this. I looked on the forums, and it's like, yeah, the communication error occurring is an actual widespread issue unrelated to servers. It's how we, like, coded it. We're going to have a fix for it. They don't have a fix for it yet. The thing is...
It's the last thing on there. First and forward, this is a visual novel, and that's all most people are playing this for.
Yeah. It's really weird to have a fighting game that actually emphasizes the story more than anything, but that's truly what this is. I feel like the actual competitive play for this game is an afterthought. I just want to say, like,
I think the fighting in general is an afterthought. I think this game was just made to just rehash the story as a cash grab, and they just threw in the fighting mechanics as something like, oh, well, this is actually some sort of gameplay, so that's why it feels so bare bones.
Yeah, but I really want to say, for the competitive aspect, I was unable to get into a match. I like tried for like an hour. I did like a custom match that I hosted myself, and after that I was able to get into like 50% of the matches, but like it was seriously like 3 FPS. Like it was so unbearably bad that I just stopped trying after like 3 matches.
It was completely like so laggy and stuff like that. It's like, you do your ability, and then the person would like, you know, rubber band across the screen. You're like, all right, cool.
All right, so now that we've talked about how this fighting game is a terrible fighting game, let's actually go into the meat and potatoes of this, the campaign mode. So we mentioned that this is a visual novel. It's basically 30 minutes of cutscene followed by walking around an empty plane trying to talk to people who don't have dialogue, by the way. You know, like when you're playing a game, you have like the grunts, and when you talk to like some NPC, it's like Sonic 06 levels, like, huh? And it's like the dialogue is like 8 sentences.
Like it's like, oh, my dad works at this building right here. It's like, oh, that's cool.
Also, yeah, that has no impact on the plot. Like you could potentially like there's some like side missions that like allow you to collect a new profile picture for the online mode.
That's all this game is like the whole point of the game is just to collect all this extra DLC and extra comics. Like that's what I mean. This game is straight up a fucking cash grab. Like all you're trying to do is just get different cute costumes for your favorite waifu and stuff like that, you know?
At the same time, like I was still able to get through most of it just because I did genuinely want to get to the next part of the story. Sure, I don't care about the actual rewards, but I'm currently near the end of chapter 6. I don't know about you. There's 8 chapters total in this game.
I got to the beginning of chapter 5, and I'm like, I watched the entire anime, and I played like 4 hours of this game. I have had enough of it.
Yeah, so the campaign is generally considered like a 6 to 8 hour campaign, depending on how much you skip. Because really, like the gameplay is watching cutscenes. So hypothetically, if you just skip every single piece of dialogue, which you're able to do
in like an hour.
Yeah, you could probably beat this game really quickly. This would actually be a hilarious speedrun to see because it's like skip dialogue, walk.
Do you have any difficulty with any of the fights at all whatsoever?
No, I first tried every single fight so far. Yeah. I think they actually have gotten more difficult over time, but it's like the difference between almost perfecting a fight and like maybe taking 1/3 of the damage on a fight.
And can we talk about their grading system for a second? So that you're given a grade on every single fight. So it's like you're getting like an A, an S, a C or B. I think I S'd almost every single fight except when I had to play as Nezuko because I hated her combos and stuff like that. And then I'd get like a B. You're given an overall grade for all the fights at the end of the chapter. So it's like you'll have 10 fights that are all S, and then one fight's a B, and then it's like, oh, overall grade B. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, so to decode what he's saying, there's an arbitrary grading system. I'm going to call it arbitrary because there's nothing that indicates what gives you an S. I think it's based on time to beat the opponent. I'm legitimately not sure. I guess I could have probably looked it up. But yeah, you get mostly S's, but then you get B's on stuff, and then like your overall grade for a chapter, because this game works in chapters, and a chapter is basically like 95 cutscenes. You do a little bit of walking through a town that's empty, and then you fight someone, and then it's more cutscene, and then all of a sudden it's over. The overall grade is based on your grades from the individual scenes, but what I will say is that it is slightly less arbitrary than you think because your grade will improve if you do the stuff you unlock after the main story. So there are side missions. I did a couple of them where it's basically just an extra fight and you get a grade on that and like it actually ups your original grade. So I gotta say that's like not a super valid complaint because there's no way, even if you get S's on every single thing, to get an S on the thing overall. It's basically like it's an incentive to go back and 100% it, but like I feel like it's not that great of an incentive.
You really don't get anything for 100%. Like this entire game plays out like, oh, you got to get all the stuff in every single stage. It's like, oh, you got 3 out of 4 dialogue options. You don't get to talk to them, but all you really get are like quotes from characters and like different costumes and just. I just feel like you really don't get any like gameplay. It's just all just like fucking. No, bullshit.
It's stuff to support the online mode. So the thing is. What he's talking about, quotes and costumes. So you have costumes that you face each other when you're in ranked, and also the quotes. You could change your opening quote for when you go into a ranked match, but no one has. So like every single time I was in a ranked match, we both said the exact same thing. But the thing is,
I changed mine.
Oh, you did? Okay. Well, the incentive is to have a more customizable online mode. But first of all, there's like overwhelming options. There's like 390 quotes, something insane. Yeah. But also the online mode sucks. So it's like. I don't know, like it's like you're getting the incentive for beating the game is a ticket to a cruise, but the cruise is the Titanic. It's like I don't really want this, And then we mentioned the incentives for beating stuff. The collectathon aspect, the places where you collect stuff are these walking scenes. You basically could walk out of the way and just it's literally just a waste of time. It's not like difficult or anything.
It's filler content. It's straight up just non-gameplay. You walk around a empty plane there's buildings there, but for all intents and purposes it's empty and there's no obstacles or something like that. There's like a glowing thing that's like jump over this fence to grab the thing and just like all right, and then it's like, oh, you've collected a point to unlock a picture. And it's just
the difficulty is whether or not you want to waste time because you see it on the map, which like it makes it obvious that it's not like hidden or anything. It's like, oh, if I go to the right here And since you only have one walking speed, it's going to just take some time to walk over there. I could get this collectible, which is either points to buy unlockable content, which we again said is bad. It's memory fragments, which are basically just scenes from the anime with honestly some okay voice acting. Like they add a little extra, but it's just scenes from the anime. So if you're already an anime fan, it doesn't matter. Like
I hate to derail you for a second. Did you keep it in English or did you change it to Japanese?
This is the point. I thought the dubs were fine.
I can't say that. The dubs made me want to kill myself. Like I heard the title screen in a video game.
Demon Slayer.
I heard the title screen.
Yaiba The Hinokami Chronicles.
Yeah, it's so bad.
That's
all I heard. That's all I heard, and I turned it to Japanese. Because I can't stand dubs in general. They make me sick.
So the thing is, when I was watching, I don't know if this is the same voice actors for Demon Slayer, because I honestly, at the same point, when I watched the first 5 episodes, I always watch anime on subs. I didn't even attempt the dubs. But I played this game on dubs. I thought the voice acting was completely fine, because I feel like when you're also removed from like anime or like real actors,
well, it's different if you haven't seen much of it. Like, I've seen it all already in a certain, so I'm just used to it. So to hear, like, the contrast of some other voice, it just sounds, like, weird to me. You know what I mean?
True, but I did genuinely think it was fine. I think there's also a little bit more leeway when you actually have, like, machinima-based acting versus, like, extremely well hand-drawn anime stuff. Like, for example, like Squid Game, the anime or the English voice dub. I'm not talking about like the English people in Squid Game that were in the Korean dub, but like people are pointing to Squid Game as having one of the worst English dubs of like any modern popular thing. But I feel like that's because it's like human and you can see their voices and like body language completely mismatched.
It's a lot easier to do in something that's animated.
Yeah, so I honestly was fine with it. I didn't bother changing it, and I if anything, I liked it. I thought that the voice acting was fine.
I couldn't stand it.
But I understand why you couldn't stand that. But like, yeah, like trying to get these collectibles that just unlock extra scenes, it's literally just walking. That's the whole game is just it's rewatching the anime. But what I will say, I thought so the game, as we mentioned, is cutscene, walking, bullshit fight, walking, cutscene, boss fight. I personally thought some of these boss fights, sure, they were easy, but they were at least creative. I enjoyed some of these boss fights. I don't know about you.
They were all right. So it's actually a point I have is some of the boss fights, yeah, they are cool, but it's like they underplay how fucking awesome those fights were in the anime. Like the spoiler, there's like a drum demon. Like the anime version of that fight is just so fucking dope, so cool. Like one of my favorite scenes in anime, and just like you're doing cool things during the fight in game, which is essentially just like the easiest quick time event ever. It just underplays how fucking cool parts of the anime are. There are just multiple scenes and parts of this game that like I actually wish you watched the anime first, because you'd probably have a much different opinion. That you'd be like, holy shit. Like, you're thinking, oh, this is a really cool story. The scene's kind of cool and stuff like that. If you watch the anime, it's a million times better how they're, like, doing each and every individual scene.
I mean, at the same, like, I thought that some of the, like, for example, generally how these boss fights go, because they follow a formula, is that it's a normal fight. All of a sudden, they go into the background and they just fire a bunch of shit at you that you have to dodge. I thought, like, the actual, like, dodging required, like at least observing, and, like, it took skill to, like, do it. Like, it didn't take much skill, but, like, it took skill to, like, actually, like, find out a way to not take damage. I feel like if this game was like,
you jump and dash.
No, but I feel like if this game, instead of having a full life bar, was like 3 hits and you're dead, it would have been such a better game, because like this game just genuinely,
absolutely.
This game genuinely does really reward like paying attention to patterns and like trying to like.
I would say bosses... the exact opposite. I would say reward just standing in their face and just spamming the square button. You just kill them.
Okay.
You can get hit as many times as you want. You'll still do the fight and get an ass.
You are true with your statement, but what I'm saying is like the way this game is designed, hypothetically, if it wasn't for the fact that you have so much health that it's impossible to lose, the way that like the bosses are designed with the patterning, it's like almost like a shmup in a way. Like I feel like they had potential with these fights to make them super interesting, but they just ended up you could just spam a single button. So I enjoyed them and I thought they were cool. I wish they were more difficult, but whatever, it is what it is. I still played a shit ton of this game.
Now let me ask you. You said you enjoyed the story and you thought it was actually super dope. Do you think you might actually watch the anime at all?
Before I get into that, I just want to mention one more thing about the boss fights, and then we'll answer the question here.
Okay.
I also thought, like you mentioned QuickTime events, we didn't mention this. So the boss fights in particular, once you get the boss to a certain point, it's like, oh, I have to finish off the boss, and then it was like basically a scene. It was basically a cutscene with QuickTime events.
Yeah, and it's like, press square.
And they were easy.
Press
but I also thought they were a good storytelling medium. Like I'm super against QuickTime events, but I thought they were a good way to switch it up. I actually had no qualms with their use of QuickTime events. That's all I wanted to say.
So the QuickTime events are just like shot for shot remakes of like how they kill the boss in the anime.
I mean, isn't that like the entire game is shot for shot how they do X in the anime? I'm not super surprised about that.
No, they do it slightly different, but like
I will not watch the anime because I feel like I've gotten enough of the story.
Really good.
The thing is, I was actually legitimately bored by the anime while I was watching it. I was not a super big fan. I enjoyed the plot more in this game, in the game context, than I enjoyed watching the anime.
Because you're like watching like the first like 5 episodes. You got to watch like all of it.
What?
That's
fucking
like,
bullshit. Okay, what I know this is like a lesser extent than something like Breaking Bad. But people are like, oh, you need to watch the first 2 seasons of Breaking Bad, then it gets really good. It's like you're asking me to watch like 21-hour episodes. Like that's so insane. Like sure, 5 episodes is only like 2 hours. I don't know exactly
it's like
how.
Nothing.
But at the same time, like I feel like a show should be able to hook me from the beginning. I actually thought the Demon Slayer anime kind of had a weird bullshit I felt like they didn't do enough before the massive like plot heavy like, oh, they killed his entire family. Like I thought they needed to do more setup before they got to that point. And I thought this game, honestly, because it skipped that, it started like kind of right after that. Like it was a bit more of a hook.
So I guess like the difference is how I enjoyed it, since I watched it week by week, episode by episode when it came out. It's like I didn't have time to get bored of it. It was like, yeah, I'll just watch this episode, and then waiting for the next episode, like, holy shit, like what happened next type thing.
I mean, like if we're talking about like the anime, because I know enough from this game about the anime plot. I thought this game, first of all, in its cutscenes, I think like really chapter 5, which you didn't get to play because you got to chapter 4. I feel like that's where it really went anime mode, especially with there's like this one character, I forget what his name is, but he's like super scared. He's like a scaredy cat, but he's also
he's Zenzetsu. Whatever.
Yeah,
he's in chapter 4.
Okay, and then like he's also like super crushing on Demon Slayer's sister, who's a demon. It gets very anime in the game, so I had my anime fix from it. But what I'm saying, like, based on my knowledge of the plot from this game, I'm not like thinking like this is a very cliche anime. It's also like weird at some points. Like I feel like there's a really weird, and I hate to say this sentence, but a sexual tension between the main character and his sister that makes me uncomfortable.
So like in the anime, I guess I didn't notice that at all too much in this game, but like in the anime, that's like literally a zero thing.
He literally goes to like, oh, this girl's beautiful. My sister Hanako would look great in the dress that this beautiful girl's wearing. And then he's like, then this guy's like, oh, I'm a demon, your sister's not hot. It's like, my sister is hot. Tell me my sister's hot.
I guess like I watched it in Japanese. It didn't come out. It didn't sound like that. It's like that. It didn't say hot. It said ugly.
No,
like,
okay. It said
like
it was beautiful,
in
but he's
Japanese,
like, no, my sister is beautiful. Call my sister beautiful. Call my sister beautiful. I'm like, you're basically just saying.
Like in the actual fucking Japanese subtitles, it's like, oh, she's ugly. It's like, what? She's not ugly. What the fuck's your problem? Like
it kind of reversed it and said.
I think it gets lost in translation.
Maybe, but at the same,
watch it, you piece of shit. God damn it. Fuck, I'm mad now.
Well, I mean, like, I'm not going to. The thing is, did you uncap the FPS? Because again, another problem with this game is that it was in 30 FPS. The thing is, I don't give a shit. It looked good in 30 FPS. I don't care. It's not like I'm caring. Like, oh my fucking god, the frame rate on this game. That's what ruined it, man. It's like, no, this game's flawed in general. It's just a really weird game. It's just genuinely like, take out the Demon Slayer context.
Like I said, it's just weird. It's literally just fan service. It's literally just a cash grab. It's literally just for people who are fans of the anime, because like people who like anime just hyper obsess over shit, so they're gonna buy it. Go, oh my god, I get to see blah blah blah. I get to dress up my waifu. I got to do this. I got to do that, and they're gonna have fun with it. Versus anyone that's standing from the outside that's not a part of it is just like, this game is super mediocre.
think about the game out of the Demon Slayer context, where it's just like a random story that has a billion cutscenes. The gameplay consists of walking from one linear side to another.
I make the same argument with superhero movies. They all fucking suck if you take out like the license.
True, and that's basically what this is. But I know we've been shitting on this game for like, I don't know how long. This has been a pretty long rant about this game. Weirdly enough, I enjoyed this game. And I genuinely, I just had fun with it.
And I could take it or leave it.
The thing is, of course you didn't, because you watched the anime and you didn't feel like spending $60 to watch an anime that's on Netflix. Before I forget, can we actually just talk about the fact that, like, yeah, this game is definitely overpriced at $60. We didn't spend $60. We spent $70. Okay? We are a little extra. So
yeah, like, so I don't even know what the fucking pre-order bonuses were. Like, it was just extra costumes and photos and stuff like that?
You are supposed to get a character unlock, so you get an extra character, you get extra avatars, you get extra high-resolution PC wallpaper, but there was actually... So, like, first of all, that's, like, totally... The thing is, like, I can't even fault them because that's mundane bullshit that, like, of course, a super fan of the show would, like, pay extra $10 for. But the funny thing is, like, there was actually, like, controversy in that, like, they weren't able to deliver on it.
Oh, yeah, I remember seeing it. It's like they couldn't do, like, one of the voice tags. So they gave, like, an extra, like, background or some shit.
Due to unforeseen circumstances, this item will replace with a PC wallpaper instead. The item that they wanted to replace was a profile background. I honestly have no idea what that means. But yeah, so you... What's a profile background? I guess, like, it's one of those bullshit unlocks.
I think it's for fucking, like, the online mode. You can change, like, your background profile
So it's another one of those bullshit things. Anyway, yeah,
completely.
Don't get the deluxe edition unless, like, for some reason you really, really, really fucking want this game, which obviously we have told you not to do. But anyway,
I want it. I have it. That's why we got it. Yeah, it's $60 to watch a worse version of something.
So yes. But as someone who hadn't seen that, like, I feel like this is so great for people who haven't watched the anime but want to, like, know what's happening in Demon Slayer because it's entertaining. Like, I like this game, even though it's a walking simulator flawed fighting game. I genuinely like this game.
It genuinely upsets me that you won't watch the anime because it's so much better.
No, but I just enjoyed the game. I was entertained by the game. The game is easy enough. I'm honestly super big on these, like, $60 like AAA experiences that look fucking great and don't have the longest campaign on the planet. Sure, Death Stranding is one of my favorite games to play on this podcast, but I'm not just gonna play a 40-hour game willy-nilly. I'm a fan of this, like, 7-hour experience shit that, like, I could at least look at and enjoy.
Like Gorogoa.
Yeah, like Gorogoa, that 60-hour game, man. Or sorry, that 7-hour game. Like, honestly, if they had a $60 Gorogoa, it would probably be like 3 hours. It'd be like Gorogoa extended cut, and it'd be like you could watch a Lord of the Rings movie in a longer time. But better game for me than Diablo. Better game than me for Diablo. That wasn't even a sentence.
I'm very upset, actually.
Okay.
You should have ruined my night, man.
So the thing is, I recognize Diablo is a way better game. It just...
No, I don't even want to get in this conversation. I'm like, so, like, everything about this. Like, I want you to watch the anime. You're like, oh, I like the story. I'm like, watch the anime. It's like, well, I don't need to now. It's like, yeah, it's so much better. Like, holy shit. Like, even watch the anime where you, like, left off. Like, we'll just watch it from there. Like,
this is like telling a priest, I don't need to go to church. I watch The Passion of the Christ. It's like, I really like Mel Gibson's rendition on this. It's like, you know what? I don't need religion. I saw Passion.
I give this game this game sucks and super mediocre unless you're like one of those super weebs who, you know, dress like your favorite anime character in public. You might like this game out of 10.
Objectively, this game is a 5 out of 10. But human beings are weird, and what we find enjoyment in, what we find pleasure in, is not necessarily what is, like, objectively good. And I could recognize that Diablo 2 Remastered and Diablo in general is a much better series than whatever this bullshit cash grab was. But in terms of, like, utility, in terms of, like, the amount, I guess Diablo was a cheaper game. But in terms of the utility, like, I got a lot more out of this. In fact, like, fuck every single game. But
you get more out of watching the anime.
No, but I just had an enjoy. Like, I was willing and happy to turn on this game versus like Diablo, based on how overwhelming it felt and how much of a chore it felt. Like I will take this game 9 times out of 10 versus Diablo.
Then maybe next week we'll play, baby's first, take a shit simulator. Like, play something easy.
I don't understand my own taste because, like, sure, Bejeweled is Bejeweled and people like Bejeweled, but like Bejeweled is a very service level game. It shouldn't have, like, if we're talking just like bang for the buck, Bejeweled Twist is a $5 game and I played that for 50 hours. There's no other fucking podcast game that I played for 50 hours except for like Hades.
You know that fucking that Flash game that's like don't push the button? We're gonna play that next week. Like,
we're gonna play that one, like Sand Simulator. You know what I'm talking about?
Ooh, I'd be down for that. Yeah. That game's sick.
That is probably the most underrated game of all time, and I'm actually serious about that because that game was
like
legendary.
Super boomer shit. People aren't gonna know what we're talking about.
That was the most legendary Flash game of all. That might be the best Flash game of all time, which is saying
Can we
a very
find that,
large
actually?
amount. Yeah, it's like Sand Simulator. I don't know. Just search that. I'm not being ironic at all. That is a contender for best game ever made. Like, do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me?
Oh my god, I'm so happy.
It's definitely top 25 games of all time. I'm not sure if it's best game of all time, but like it transcends Flash game into like experience. Like you could play, what's it called? What's the game called?
I literally just linked it to you.
Oh, okay.
I'm playing it right now on the podcast while we're recording. I
Falling
drew a penis
Sand game. Holy shit. Hell yeah. The next 3 hours of this podcast is going to be
us like in
game.
silence, like playing the Sand game.
Falling Sand game.
Fuck this game. Watch the anime. That's all I got to say.
Honestly, I had a fun experience, and yeah, I know I said I was going to play Metroid Dread, and I didn't. I know I've said I've played every single other game, and I don't do it. But like, considering I don't have that much of the campaign left, and it's not like effort to play the campaign because I just basically go from place to place watching a cutscene, I might legitimately try to finish this game. I'm not going to try to 100% it or anything, but yeah, I enjoyed it. Even though that this entire I had maybe 5% positive things about this game to say, but yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed it. It's not as good as, like, I'm playing this. I'm trying to have a conversation, but at the same time, I'm just like, this sand is falling.
Watch the anime.
Watch the sand fall. Sounds like a 007 movie.
So what else
Falling
happened
Sand.
today?
What else is new? What else is new?
Well, I just want to take out like a card with like a 5K credit limit and throw it all into some random shitcoin.
That sounds like the worst idea on the. Are you serious?
Yeah, dude.
You want to get into debt to invest?
Yeah.
That's like Wall Street's best level of like stupid. I'm sorry to say, don't do that.
I'm gonna invest in GMC or GME.
GameStop. Yeah, it's a really good sign when you don't know the stock ticker that you want to invest in. I mean, that's like an actual thing. There was a guy who invested in, I think, GMET, G-M-E-T, because
that was GameStop?
No, he like fat fingered his like 10,000. It was like $100,000, and he like fat fingered it and accidentally bought the wrong stock because he's an idiot. And yeah, he ended up making money because I don't know if the stock was doing.
Well,
okay,
if like the stock is like not that big, like if you put that kind of money into it, wouldn't it like theoretically?
Yeah, it's just like a crypto. It sucks because I'm not making millions. I could have. It sucks because the crypto bros are right, you know? It's like all these people are like, just put all your money in Bitcoin, man. It's like, oh, you actually have millions of dollars now? That's great. I'm so happy.
I mean, it went down to like 30,000, and it's like, yeah, I mean, if you put $500 into it, you probably have $1,000 right now.
Yeah, that's why I don't know why anyone would ever invest in like Bitcoin proper, because it's like, the whole point of crypto is financial freedom. It's not what they say crypto's for. It's not. No one actually gives a shit about.
It's just gambling.
Yeah.
No one gives a shit about any of the projects at all whatsoever. They just fake they do. Everyone's just trying to make it rich and just not deal with it anymore.
Like, you're on Twitter now. Have you seen that like one tweet about like the lost in the artwork NFT thing?
All I know is that I see the tweets that are like all NFTs just like really shitty fucking pixelated Xbox Live avatar art. I don't understand how it works. So I just like say, hey, I made this art. It's an NFT now. Pay me money.
What you do is you spread your butthole and then you let people see the guts, and then you upload it to GoTo.
Yeah, but how do I make money? Sam, how do I scam people via NFTs? I will do it. Tell me how.
You could probably like, this is like a legit idea, but it's slightly embarrassing. Like if you made like a bio NFT, like somehow incorporated like you own this physical part of me by owning this NFT, like a blood vial uploaded to the internet, like a genome sequence, DNA genome NFT art. There we go. I just made $4 billion. Like legit.
So
Say that word to a crypto nerd. And that rhymes, so it must be true. DNA genome bio NFTs. Okay?
So it's like I just upload my, how do I upload my DNA to the internet though, and then like make art out of it?
Personalized NFTs based on DNA sequencing.
I saw someone that was literally like, they should make real life NFTs and like just like a painting, like art.
Send your urine to Joe Biden.
I mean, I'm sure people have.
Calm down. Okay.
Okay.
Are you calm? Here at NFT sequencing, we extract DNA to create a personalized NFT on the Arweave blockchain. The Arweave blockchain specifically exists as a permaweb. By putting your personalized DNA sequenced NFT artwork on Arweave blockchain, you are essentially going down as a permanent citizen of the world.
Is this a real thing?
DNA sequence-based NFTs uploaded to the Arweave blockchain for permaweb preservation of the human species.
But why would anyone want my like semen and nail clippings?
No, it's not for them. It's for you. You exist
like,
now in the
But
permaweb
how do I make money
as an
off
NFT? No, people will pay to become permanent NFTs on the Arweave blockchain.
But how do I make money?
You make money because you own the service.
Oh, well, I don't have the know-how to do that.
I could do it. But anyway, like, I'm just saying buzzwords. I'm just trying to, like, I mean, I said so many buzzwords at once. That's, like, so fucking money. It's like,
So you're just like, yo, so you make, like, graphics and, like, a whole ad campaign. You're like, all right,
no,
so
I just buy the website that every other crypto project has. You know how they literally all have the same format and like animations and stuff. And then I just say the words DNA based sequence NFTs for permaweb storage on the Arweave blockchain, and then people are like, oh. And then
then you're just like a buy now button, and then they just send you like
and then I don't do anything. Then I just say I did it, and then I just don't.
Like, what's the legality behind this kind of
It's
stuff?
so illegal. That's false advertising.
I feel like all these crypto rugs, like, how do these people not get in trouble?
Because they live in Bosnia.
Well, so basically I can't rip people off with NFTs unless I live in Bosnia.
Yeah. I mean, you've heard about my like idea about, well, it might not be, I had the opportunity to make like, I had the money making opportunity for a lifetime, but I didn't take it. And I kind of regret it, but I also don't, because like the downside is too great. When like I knew, so I actually don't know the restrictions on Omanese domains. Do you know Oman, the country?
Yeah.
You know Oman?
I've heard of it before. I don't know where the fuck it is though.
Oman is in the Middle East. It's bottom right next to Yemen, but it's doing way better. I've been there. It's actually pretty dope. Oman, their domain is .om, similar to like .io. Like you those are country code top level domains. They're all 2 characters.
Yeah.
So it's .om, and previously it was unregistered, and I think I knew why. But googlec.om. So think about google.com if you just shifted the dot to googlec.om. So you shifted the dot to the right.
Ooh, and you were gonna buy that?
Yeah, I was gonna buy it, but then I realized I'd be like hyper sued by Google. But imagine if I actually bought it and then I just put like an ad. How many people mistype google.com? Probably not that many. It autocorrects. But back in the day.
So who owns that website right now?
I wonder if it's been bought. I'm pretty sure people are too scared.
It doesn't work.
Yeah, let me see domains. The thing is, a lot of CCTLDs have restrictions.
Google probably owns this and they just don't have it like working or whatever.
You might need to be an Omani citizen, which is fine. Like, I knew some people. Local businesses inside Oman, so I'd have to have an Omani business.
We can start one. Podcast LLC.
If we made our podcast virtual homework, it's just like an ad for, it's a redirect to virtual homework on googlec.com. Googlec. It's like, this shit's my business. I'm Googlec. It's unrelated to Google, okay?
Go to goatsy.cx. It's a NFT now.
Oh, it is? Oh, no. That's bad.
It's like Goatsy is on the Ethereum blockchain.
I'd rather not own Goatsy.
There's 1 million pixels. It costs 0.001 ETH per pixel to own a piece of Goatsy.
Cool. I don't want that.
I still don't, like, call me a boomer. I still don't understand NFTs at all. I don't understand it. I literally just don't.
If I wanted to become a billionaire, and I'm talking billionaire with a B because I think this is guaranteed, I would find the originator of the gangster SpongeBob image. You know which one I'm talking about. Yeah. And I would buy the rights to that gangster SpongeBob image and then make it an NFT and say, like, you could own gangster SpongeBob.
I think that's owned by
Nick.
Yeah, like that's owned by Nickelodeon. It's like it's super ultra copyrighted.
No, but the thing is, it's
still copyrighted work.
Fair use, man.
I don't think that's fair use. But I mean, but if you live in Bosnia, I don't think it matters.
How much do you think this is worth off the top of your head?
Like in that like
compressed state.
I would pay $1,000 for that.
The thing is, actually, there's an age-old debate, and I mean, like, you could have your own input, but like there is genuine debate here. So there's obviously this image, right? And this is an important image for the history of mankind. But like, where does it stand versus this one? Where does it stand versus which is the true gangster SpongeBob? Is it that one that you see or this one? Because they are both extremely
the first one for sure.
The first one for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. I mean, like, and we got to put one in the ring. I actually disagree. I think really the second one is the epitome of gangster SpongeBob.
Gangster SpongeBob
Classic.
is like the one that you see on the t-shirts at the mall are always this one.
No, you sometimes see the second one. You sometimes definitely see the second one.
But when I think gangster SpongeBob, I think like that. Why do people draw this?
Why do people draw donked out Meg?
I don't like the super high res gangster SpongeBob though. I don't think that one looks as good.
Unironically, I think that the compressed, squeezed image that I first sent you is better than the second one.
There's actually a Know Your Meme page about gangster SpongeBob. Doing intense research right now to see which picture came first. Apparently, both those images were both posted on PhotoBucket around February or March 2008.
So the thing is, like, obviously this was made in the 90s at like a t-shirt shop on the Jersey Shore, right? Like some dude's airbrushing this. Literally he's airbrushing this as the person who's waiting for the shirt is injecting steroids into their neck. Like that is a scenario in the 90s.
I still think that the green hat one is more gangster. That's more thug
than the
SpongeBob.
Blinged out
it's more
headband.
Thug SpongeBob.
I'm seriously disagree. I think that the second image is the epitome of like, because that's like Al Capone gangster SpongeBob. I'm thinking more street level gangster. And when I think of street level gangster, I definitely think the second image more than the first image. Fedora, like that could be co-opted by the incel culture. Okay, I don't like that.
Dude, speaking of commands, something that changed my life. I'm not sure if I mentioned this to you. I probably did. Windows key Shift S has changed my life.
What is that?
Snippet tool.
Up until 2021, I think in late 2020, I started using snipping tool instead of print screen and then paint and then cropping it.
Literally,
and
like
that was
2
the
months
process.
ago.
I can't believe I did that.
Two months ago, up until 2 months ago, I would like, what's it, like Control Alt print screen or whatever, open paint, paste. All right, then I'm gonna snip it. All right, then upload, and it's just like
the difference. I just always have the snipping tool application open. So like it's just there, and I'm constantly making stuff. I mean, you don't because you don't do any tabs.
No, so do it with me right now. Do Windows key Shift S.
Okay, so this is exactly how it's done on a Mac. Yeah, it's good. I like it, but I just always have snipping tool open. I like the little GUI, so we're good.
Do we have actually topics to talk about? We're just kind of bullshitting about literally nothing.
So first of all, if we really want to get into it. You see the speedrun.com drama?
I have not, but I'm very excited because I'm genuinely interested.
Oh my god. It was
I tried to pay attention to a lot of the speedrun stuff because the content that they put on the internet is actually genuinely interesting a lot of the time.
Well, then maybe you should pay attention to the links I send in our Discord where I send you topics for the week that you never read. You're saying random noises because you're deflecting on the fact that you're a bad podcast host. Anyway,
listen, I'm sorry.
Were you playing Diablo? Were you spending your time playing Diablo?
Were you playing Bejeweled Twist?
I actually wasn't playing Bejeweled Twist for the second half of the week. The first half of the week I was a degenerate, but I had 3 days. Okay, I don't. That's not justification. It's like, yeah, I only spent 72 hours. So first of all, I've passed 50 hours in Bejeweled Twist. I'm now
That's
at
like
52 hours.
insane.
It's
I
not
probably
that
have
insane.
I probably have like 700 hours played in Diablo 2 though.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing. It's insane for a normal human being who has a normal life that's like spending too much time playing video. Ooh, I'm bad. I played 3 hours of video games today. Meanwhile, Dana's like, I haven't bathed in 7 days. I
Listen,
quit my
I
job to
shower
play Diablo
every single day. Like
every single month.
I love taking a shower, man. Like there's literally nothing better than like right before bed taking like a nice ass shower, and like after you have like fresh sheets. Like I always put like new pillowcases on. Like
I'm laughing because like I'm imagining you taking your Switch into the shower and like playing like your terribly broken Switch, playing Diablo on it. You know,
I do play Switch in the bathtub. I'm not gonna lie.
that's fine, honestly, as long as like that's like a first bathtub order thing. It's like you play Switch and then you dip your hands, you know? You don't want to get everything all wet.
Well, sometimes I'll hold it with one hand and be like.
Sometimes you'll just put soap all over the Switch.
The towel right here, and I'm just like.
Sometimes you'll just put soap all over the Switch and use it as like what are those things called? How am I blanking right now? You know,
a loofah?
Loofah, yeah. You use your Switch as a loofah.
Do you use a loofah, or do you just like raw dog it with your hand?
I don't use body wash. I use bar soap.
I do too.
This is actually a legitimate point of contention I've had with many people. Like so many people are like, use bar soap. Ew. I use body wash. I'm like, it's the same thing. Don't get
it's the same thing. And actually, bar soap I'm pretty sure is better because I use like actual soap. I don't use like.
It's debatable. Bar soap is definitely like considering that they're nearly exactly identical. Bar soap is extremely economical compared to.
It depends what soap you use, because like a lot of the soap is classified as detergents.
Dish soap.
To be honest, that's not terrible. Dish soap is actually really good. Probably one of the least toxic things you could probably ingest.
What about food?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like you could eat like pure capsaicin. I'm sure that's pretty toxic.
So,
I also pee sitting down.
What? Is that real?
Yeah, I pee sitting down sometimes.
Like, majority of the time?
Yeah, probably. So then it's like I can pull out my phone, do whatever.
Why?
I like just sitting.
I mean, you told me why, but still, why?
I don't know, why not?
The number like one benefit of being a man is peeing wherever. That's like why people are men.
I do it.
That's not why people...
Most of the time.
What does that even mean?
But it's like, I pee sitting down. There's nothing wrong with it. I sit down when I pee. There's nothing that weird about me.
Are you making brown?
No.
Just lemonade? We have to move on because I'm too weirded out now.
Do you shit standing up?
I shit in the shower.
Waffle stomp it down?
No. Just leave it.
Ew. Angela comes in later like, what the fuck?
Jesus Christ. Yeah, this conversation is too much, and that's saying something.
What were we talking about before we got into
Switch Diablo? We were talking about Diablo.
Yeah, I was playing too much. No, we were talking about soap. What kind of soap? What soap do you use? Do you use like Irish Spring or something like that?
No, I use Dove. Like Dove Men Plus or something like that. I forget the exact name. I just put Diet Coke and Mentos in the tub, and that fizz.
That is terrible.
Is it? Have you tried it?
No, well, maybe, but we're not getting into that. No, the whole reason I'm getting into this is because I saw a whole documentary on like soaps that come in like the stores. It's like actually classified as detergents, and it's really bad for your skin.
Don't watch The Sopranos and you're watching soap documentaries? Is that what's happening right now?
You know the same shit you do when you get stuck in like wiki like.
Yes,
bullshit,
I understand that.
Random.
I spent half an hour looking up like. Do you know what I
was like looking at like what's the thing called when the Audacity like the noise like comes up? What's that called?
Peaking?
Like not like peaking, but like when you talk, like there's like the blue lines. Like what's that called?
I don't know. Just waveform.
Should I just chug this Robitussin?
Yes.
The whole thing.
I really want a robo-tripping podcast where like your eyes are going in different directions.
You remember how like insane we used to get? Like on our podcast, I used to get fucking like drunk as fuck.
You were always like, I don't think I need to drink tonight. You could do whatever. And then it's like, you know what? Fucking 2 Four Locos. I'm like, oh, Jesus, we're going in.
Nothing like that. I would have like 2 White Claws though.
Yeah, but 2 big White Claws.
Yeah, but it wasn't that crazy.
Noon Attack, okay? Noon Attack. You ever hear of a Noon Attack? Speaking of wiki rabbit holes, I went on one today. Almost an hour looking up Noon Attacks.
No idea what the fuck that is.
Yeah, it's because I'm the geography man, self-claimed geography buff. I didn't know what a fucking Nunatak was. I'm a fucking idiot, okay? You call yourself a geography buff, you don't know what a Nunatak is? First of all, obviously, when you're talking about Nunataks, you're going to notice Nuna, and these are Arctic features. So like, oh, Nuna? Is that like Nunavut? Yes, it turns out it is. Inuit word for land is Nuna. I don't know what tak means, but you ever see
what the fuck is it?
You're in like a glacier zone. You ever like in the Arctic and you're on a glacier?
Sonic Glacier Zone.
Is that an actual level?
Probably.
Yeah, probably. In like one of the 85 iterations. Anyway, so you're in the goddamn glacier zone and you're seeing all this flat land. Oh my God, what is that coming out of the glacier? I'm 1,000 feet up on this giant ice sheet and I see a little peak. What? Is that like, so like think about it. Like, you know how like land itself in like an ocean is basically a giant mountain, like North America is a giant mountain in a way, when you think about like the Earth's surface?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there are these peaks that come out of glaciers, and they're called Nunataks. It's a summit.
Okay, so just peaks that come out. So peaks that come out of glaciers are called Nunataks. It's all you could have said.
No, okay, but I'm trying to give you a story because this shit's epic, yo.
You gotta set it up.
So a Nunatak, from the Inuit word Nunatak, is a summit or ridge of a mountain that protrudes from an ice field or glacier that otherwise covers most of the mountain or ridge. They're also called glacial islands, if you don't want to use the cool-ass word Nunatak.
I won't. Well, next time I'm in a glacier area, in the glacier zone, I will flex my knowledge.
Next time I'm in a glacier area, you say that like you're fucking cultured.
When I'm
swine.
glaciered out.
See this Nunatak right here? Sending you Nunataks.
Dude, it's gonna be rock hard.
That thing's rock fucking hard. I'll tell you that. What's your opinion on Nunataks? Rate Nunataks as an experience, 1 to 10.
To be honest, it's like, don't get me wrong, I'm not as much in the geography as you are, but I do think it's a cool thing.
Preface, I'm sorry. You're going to answer the question, and I'm sorry for cutting you off. What would you rate rivers as a geographical feature out of 10?
Rivers are dope, like probably like a 7 out of 10.
Okay, so with that context, let's go back to Nunataks.
Like, what's this called? Like, what's the term for what a Nunatak is? Like, is that a term of topography or?
Yeah, I would say topography is the way you want to say it.
Dude, this fucking image, like, I want this on a shirt.
This looks like you would see it in a, like, I don't know, Magic Treehouse book.
No, this shit was in, like, every textbook, like, when you were a kid. Like, I remember this, like, vividly. It's a dope picture. It's like, when the last time you ever thought about, like a peninsula or, like, an isthmus or, I mean, to be honest, the Nunatak is, like, a solid 4 out of 10 for me.
What? Oh, my God. They just dropped Nunataks. Straight up. They're just like, you know,
I mean, it's not like it's not a delta.
Who gives a shit about deltas? What, you go into Louisiana?
It could be a butte.
A butte?
Could be a basin.
You're just naming shit. Well, I got a legitimate Nunatak based conversation. You're just naming shit. You're just trying to derail this conversation.
I'm going to attack your face if we don't talk about something more relevant.
We were going to talk about speedrun drama.
Oh, yeah.
And then we went into like a 40-minute Nunatak conversation. Jesus goddamn Christ.
Talk about Diablo, we talk about soap, we talk about shitting, like peeing, and Nunataks.
Yeah, anyway, yeah, there was
speed running.
I can't believe you didn't see this because I think I sent multiple links, maybe I only sent one, but there was another development today with an official statement. So, speedrun.com, as people know, especially in the speedrunning community, was recently bought out. And by recently, I mean like about over a year ago at this point. Sometime at the beginning of the pandemic, I think.
I forgot who bought it, though.
Elo Entertainment, who runs a bunch of other gaming-related sites.
Okay.
They bought speedrun.com, and personally, I was hopeful. I was one of the lone people who was like, hey, you know what? It's actually good that a legitimate organization bought speedrun.com. Sure, they're going to try to profit off it, but you're actually going to... Like, people forget that there was like nothing added to speedrun.com.
Well, I think we had this conversation that like, they might pump money into it to, add more functionality, make it better, more accessible, but I don't know what happened, so.
And they did. They added more functionality. So, drama has spurred in... So, originally, Simpsons Hit and Run was the one that started this drama, but it was happening in a lot of other communities, but...
I remember this. They were, like, removing categories that, like, weren't on, like, an official list or some shit, right?
No. This is completely unrelated, and it's not Simpsons Hit and Run's fault, but it just, that was where it was centralized because it's a popular game with a popular runner who is, I guess, not controversial, but like he has detractors. So speedrun.com implemented a new feature kind of out of nowhere. I don't think they were really testing this out, where they allowed for commenting on runs. So basically kind of making it a little bit social media network sort of deal. Like, oh, you could comment on runs, be like, oh, this run's cool, this run sucks, whatever. Like, obviously with comments, it's not always going to go 100% the way you want to do it. That's why moderation tools exist, right?
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
Wait, they didn't have any moderation tools?
And it was mandatory, and you couldn't opt out or anything like that. So every single leaderboard had comments, and you couldn't delete the comments for the longest time. You still can't mass delete comments, and you can't remove the feature. So what happened is that Liquid Wi-Fi, the world record holder for Simpsons Hit and Run, he has, I guess, a group of people who are banned in his chat who banded together to post like thousands of comments on his runs calling him a F-bomb, not the one I could say, calling him et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, slurs and stuff like that.
Not only could these not get deleted, but like it was just like it was affecting his mental health. So he decided to remove all his world record times from the leaderboard so he would stop being harassed. This led to obviously it was happening in other communities too. This is the most vocal example.
This is horrible, especially because here's the thing. If you're a streamer with any sort of notoriety, you're going to have people that are banned that any chance they have, like they're going to just do the worst thing possible to you. They're going to send you death threats. Like if they're not banned in other chats, they're going to talk shit about you.
We're part of these comments as well.
Yeah. So it's like the fact that they would implement this without any moderation, because is there, like, for example, there's like the specific forums under every game. Is there moderation for that?
Yeah, there is. This is just new feature.
What the fuck?
So I guess from a development standpoint, I'm pretty sure that speedrun.com is not really coded efficiently. Like it's not like they could just implement the comment feature from the forums.
Yeah, I'm sure this was
they don't it's spaghetti code 100%. But even so, like this rightfully had a lot of backlash in the community. Like most people don't want it. I don't think it's necessarily a bad feature on the surface, but it should be opt-in, not opt-out or literally required. And so a lot of these people, they did a blackout day where like people weren't using their leaderboards. And eventually, I think it was yesterday that speedrun.com actually responded saying, hey, obviously this feature is not going as well as we expected. We are going to suspend some of the things and give better moderation tools, and then we will implement it later. People are still pissed because obviously like the situation was completely unnecessary. It was a feature no one asked for, and it's an absolute goddamn mess. It will eventually get worked out. The thing is, a lot of people are like, they're going absolutely like tinfoil hat on this. Like, there are a lot of people in the speedrunning community who are so unbelievably opposed to the idea of anything happening for commercial gain in the speedrunning community. They view their hobby as sacred, and like they're irrationally fearing any sort of corporate involvement in speedrunning. I know people who are like, as soon as they're like, oh, Elo bought speedrun.com, I guess the website's gonna die now. We're gonna get like corporate takeover of speedrunning. It's like, not really. And then we have people in this, they're like, oh, they implemented the feature and made it mandatory in order to increase metrics. And the fact that they have thousands of comments is actually good for them, because now it looks like they have a lot more engagement, even though this is all hate comments. They're pushing their agenda. I'm like, really, it's obvious that like based on this and previous features that they've created, it's just an incompetent team. And I'm not surprised, because if you look up Elo as a company, they have less than 50 employees. People look at this and they see like, oh, we have quality control. We have a person who is marketing and branding. They don't realize that's one person doing this. There's probably four people working on the entire site.
I just want to go back to them saying like, oh, they're trying to get metrics. Like this isn't like something that's like owned by Google or like some major like thing with like ads all over the place. Like metrics for what? Like they don't like.
There were people who,
like, you sit there and think for a second, like they're not, like, even if they were trying to do that, like let's give them everything they're saying. Like, what do they gain out of it? Literally nothing. So
they were literally coming out when speedrun.com added so originally you only had an ad when you were logged out of the website, and then they switched it and made so you get a banner ad now when you're logged in too, unless like you donate to the site or something like that.
So does every other website on the internet.
Yeah, and people were saying like they were literally being apocalyptic. It's like, oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. I can't believe we got a corporate takeover speedrunning.
How do you think people pay for like websites? Do you think like, oh, we're gonna go off the good of the community? It's like, no, you're gonna have to monetize it in some way, otherwise this website will just shut down. Like, people live in this fantasy world where, oh, we can just have this.
Of course, the website's going to try to monetize slightly more now that they actually have. They need to make money to survive as a company. But no, this was, and as much as I want to make fun of people for like being like, oh, corporate takeover and speedrunning, ELO is an evil organization. It's like, no, this is just incompetence, but incompetence isn't that great either. They've made a series of bad decisions, and while I was hopeful for them initially, I now think of them as like an incompetent entity, and I think that they probably are not a net positive on speedrun.com. That being said, it's so crazy that people are attributing this to malice. Like, it's obvious they just didn't think this through. People don't realize when you have like 4 people doing something, it's very easy to make mistakes.
It's very easy for something to fall through like the cracks. But I don't know. It seems like moderation tools for this kind of thing just seem like very, very obvious. But I mean, a lot bigger companies have forgone very obvious things.
It's just like it's just like when you see like a game like, I don't know, like Hearthstone. It's like, how did this get past QA? It's because QA is like a small team, and you have millions of people now playing the game. It's like they can make certain decisions.
Like 5 people, are testing it a total of, let's say, 250 hours or something like that, or like a team of whatever, like probably testing X amount of hours versus throwing 1 million people at it, probably doing hundreds of millions of hours. I think that's probably going to find shit a lot faster than like their little team,
Yeah, but that being said, this feature should have never existed, and it's honestly just embarrassing for them.
I don't have a problem with it. I just think they should have had moderation tools.
People are saying like, oh, we need a speedrun.com alternative. We had to change the sidebar for a bit because, I'm personally of the opinion that speedrun.com should be the place where people go. And obviously if they're like, we're going to be racist now, I'm like, all right, no longer I'm going to support speedrun.com. But unless they make actively malicious decisions, I'm still going to support speedrun.com. The community was like, yeah, we can't have speedrun.com on the R speedrun sidebar if we're going to like, we actually had to add like a note saying like, note, the website right now is currently rampant with hate comments because of this new feature they added. We're going to keep this note up until they remove it. But like, people are legitimately saying we need to leave speedrun.com now. I think that's a bad idea. People are already making their own leaderboards for certain games, and they're trying to abandon speedrun.com entirely. I think that's a massive step back. There were previous websites for this, like Donkey Kong Country, Mega Man, and a lot of them have come to speedrun.com, and I think that's better for the community health overall, because when you have a large community,
it's like anytime there's a huge community, you're able to grow.
Yeah, when you have a community centralized, I think that's where you actually start to see like exponential growth, because like when you have like, for example, let's think about Twitch in general. When you had a video game community like kind of splintered on the internet, when you had one large website allowing for people for viewership, I feel like that's when a lot of the speedrunning stuff really took off, when people were able to like look at runs in a certain way.
Well, you got to think it from like the most casual way possible. It's like, oh wow, I saw this, like I'm watching GDQ, they're speedrunning Super Metroid. Oh, how do I speedrun that? I Google speedrun Super Metroid, and speedrun.com might be one of the first places I'm going to check, because speedrun.com is like, .com is very basic. It has the word speedrun in it. It's not like, the speedrun place .io, it's all about, people aren't thinking about accessibility. They're just thinking like in the immediate, like right now.
Yeah, people say they need another site, but if there's 2 popular sites, it just fractures the community and makes it worse. Yeah. The fact of the matter is, speedrun.com, you're never going to get a name better than that. You are always going to be beholden to that. That domain name also probably costs like $1 million. Like legitimately,
Absolutely.
Pac was like, I was thinking about buying highscore.net, but 200,000 seemed like a little bit high. He was still like willing to pay 6 figures for it because the domain name matters that much. Like,
domain is huge for like propagating anything.
Yeah, too bad virtualhomework.com costs like $3,000.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's.
How much is virtualhomeworkpodcast.com?
$2,495 for virtualhomework.com.
How much is virtualhomeworkpodcast.com?
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, once links get too long, it's like suddenly don't like. I have a thing of like plastic forks on a little table in the back of my little office here, and Doodles has found it, and now he's playing with it.
I saw Doodles come up, rolling up when I was getting passionate about speedrunning, trying to derail the conversation. Pretty fucked up, honestly.
Speedruns are for nerds.
Speedrunning is definitely for nerds, and nerds like to get mad. I want to just say, I think it's overblown, but I think there is a legitimate issue here, obviously. And the fact of the matter is, it's going to get resolved.
Yeah, absolutely. I think people just... Because I work in a field that I'm constantly surrounded by overdramatic, nerdy, geeky people and stuff like that. Because I'm nerdy, I'm geeky as they come, but it just these people don't realize how much they're gatekeeping and like hurting their own hobby.
This isn't an issue of gatekeeping, though. I think that it's an issue. It's an issue of legitimate grievances, but like people are like acting like they just got their balls cut off.
When I say gatekeeping, I mean like they're like, oh, we need to get rid of this. We need to have our own private thing. They're not thinking about growth in the future. Like they're preventing more people from getting into things, you know, when they're like, oh, we need to get away from these like centralized places.
Yeah. I think that's just like common nerd behavior. The thing is, I've mentioned it before, and I don't want to just like leave it as a one-off statement. But yeah, I think there have been really boneheaded decisions by management. I made a tweet, wasn't super popular, but I was just like, why am I able to see a list of volunteers in the site, but I can't see a list of staff? I really, so you know what Blue Tracker is, right?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Previously on the About Me section, it listed staff as actual members, not just saying like, hey, we're owned by this organization. And then it also had volunteers, because there's like differences like coders and versus volunteers on the website, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're ranks. But instead of actually having accountability, they replace their staff contact, like the individual members, they replace it with a contact form with no tracking. So it's impossible to actually get feedback or like issues resolved in a timely manner, which, to be fair, as an organization that's as small as ELO, owning a website that's as active as speedrun.com, they're probably so unbelievably swamped. Like, the reason why this feature probably got rolled out in such a terrible fashion is because these people are probably stressed as fuck because they have no people to implement features for a website this big. The fact of the matter is, I wanted to create a Blue Tracker.
What's their incentive to do so as well? Like realistically, how much money do you think speedrun.com is actually generating them? Or are they just having it just so they can say, oh, we own it? A
lot. Yeah. So
okay.
What I want to just point out is like, I hate more than anything a lack of transparency, a lack of accountability. Yeah. Speedrun or r/speedrun has public mod logs, which have actually been more of a detriment than anything because people take them out of fucking context and they're like, Picante is a transphobic moderator because he approved this comment that could be seen as transphobic. I'm like, I approved it because it was downvoted to shit, and I just wanted to show how big of an idiot this person was. I don't actually think that their opinion was valid. I want people to see like minus 300 downvotes, like, oh, this runner was trans and therefore bad. It's like everyone dunking on this guy is better than like having the comment gone. I mean, you could debate it, but like anyway. Yeah. What I'm trying to say is like transparency is a must, even if it's a detriment of like public opinion. You need to be able to like, I wanted to make a Blue Tracker. So for those who don't know, Blue Tracker is a way to view all Reddit comments by people who are considered Blizzard staff. And I wanted to make one that like, I literally wanted to see.
Yeah, like, but there's Blue Trackers for like every website for like Blizzard employees and stuff like that. They have it on the like MMO Champion. They have it on their own forums and stuff like that.
I literally just wanted to see if they made a statement about the current the current comment controversy, but I couldn't find any on Twitter because they don't really post on Twitter that much. They eventually did about this because it was big enough, but yeah. I literally just couldn't see in the comments because I couldn't track. I don't know who's a staff. They have a little icon that shows their staff, but there isn't a list of staff, and like I
think that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I see it on
I see it on some subreddits where it's like, oh, like reply from a dev, and it's like, well, where? It's like you have to like
I just wanted to make a Blue Tracker because I wanted to see statements made by speedrun.com devs because I love transparency. I just couldn't find it, and it seems that they're going to get less transparent as the days go on. I don't think it's like they don't want transparency, but I just think it's more that
they have a big enough team to like they have a lot more important things to worry about than having that kind of shit.
Yeah, especially whiny fucking gamers. I as a moderator have had to deal with some of the most insane it's like, hey, can you spend like 20 to 25 hours a week on this one thing that only I care about? It's like, I think I'd
No,
rather
this is the
not.
following- I'm not getting paid.
Yeah.
What's the most insane thing anyone is? Have you ever had people like directly message you like crazy shit?
I had someone suggest that I make like a highly produced video every week for a community I ran. It's like, hey, can you showcase the runs that have been made this week and highlight like some of the best things about them, and then like maybe like showcase some runners and like make it a weekly thing. And like, are you insane? Like, you are so out of touch. This is hilarious to me, but yeah, I'm not going to name communities or names. Yeah.
No, that's fine.
Everything else that sucks is just like 12-year-olds like not understanding that
Saying,
like they're 12.
transphobic or like racist.
No,
or,
it's not
whatever
even like
shit.
racism or transphobia or anything like truly problematic. It's just like having to deal with someone who's obviously 12 but won't admit it.
Yeah.
Because if they admit it, then you just ban them for COPPA.
I'm 18,
violations.
bro.
Yeah, it's more that like, hey man, and then they say like the stupidest shit on earth, and it's like they're just kind of rude to you, and it's like, oh, okay, you're obviously 13. It's like, oh, I'm 35.
Personally, I think I know the whole alert to the internet is the anonymity.
Alert?
I can't say that word.
Like the most northern inhabited place in the world. Pardon me.
Anonymity. How do you say that word?
Anonymity.
Anonymity. Think that the biggest alert of that is that, so you can kind of say whatever you want without people knowing you are. I am one of the people that almost feel like to sign up for things like Twitch, think like Reddit, like you should have to like submit an ID so they know who you fucking are exactly. Because if you put your, like with Facebook,
Hey, Mark Zuckerberg.
yeah, but if you put your name and shit up there, you're gonna be far less likely to say some like crazy ass shit.
Yeah, but then you got Mark Zuckerberg rimming your asshole with I don't know.
Dude, he can rip my ass all he wants. Like, fucking for my
Would you be a
pleasure.
prostitute for Mark Zuckerberg?
Absolutely.
What's your going rate for Zuck?
$1,000 for a Zuck suck.
Who is the dominant part of the Zuck suck?
Whatever. I mean, he's paying. He can be whatever the fuck he wants.
All right. Well, it's pretty cheap, but I guess you got the story.
Yeah,
And
I
at
mean,
the end
like,
of the day, it is what it is.
I mean,
it's not the
like,
worst thing in the world.
I don't know, like, money is money, man. $1,000, that's like rent for like, I don't know how long, 30 seconds or whatever.
30 seconds. You think Zuckerberg and all his meditation, all his new age bullshit hasn't mastered his own domain? Okay.
Listen, okay,
I think
it's
Mark Zuckerberg takes like not on that end. I think he takes like a freakishly long time to come. Like it, but the thing is, it's not like it's a process that like. Yeah, I'm going here. It's not like it's like all of a sudden he's like not enjoying it, and then like all of a sudden like he just flips a switch like 3 hours in, and then he just does it. Like I think it's a gradual buildup, and if the buildup's interrupted, it takes like another 4 to 5 hours for him to reach that
well, then
point.
it's gonna be a little bit more than $1,000. Probably, I don't know.
You charge an
'Cause
hourly rate because you're a professional.
I am not a professional.
In this scenario, you are.
Oh, I mean, if I'm getting paid, I'm getting paid. But I'm trying to think if I'm undervaluing myself, because it's like
He's Zuckerberg.
It's Zuckerberg, and then it's like you'd have the story to tell. You can go to like media and be like, hey, I have this. I feel like you can monetize it in like other ways.
What is Zuckerberg's net worth? I'm Googling it, but what do you think it is?
$380 billion.
No, it's way more than I thought. It's 121 billion? I thought it was like 30 billion. Jesus.
Oh, I overestimated.
Yeah, you did. Bezos is worth $200 billion. So like I feel like people forget that like for the longest time, obviously there's been people who have been worth over $100 billion in today's money over history. But for a very long time, I'm talking like from at least when I was born up until like maybe 2018 or so, like people didn't really get above like $70 billion. Like for a long time, Bill Gates was the richest person in the world at a net worth about $50 billion. It was overtaken by Carlos Slim, who had about $70 billion. And like now we're at like the $200 billion range. I guess we're like in a massive stock frenzy. And like, I don't really have a comment
the
on this.
coronavirus in general really pushed Amazon because people were like literally just
Well,
buying
yeah,
everything
there's a
from home.
massive like. Oh, Bill Gates has $133 billion. But no, you've heard about the massive wealth transfer to the hyper billionaires during the coronavirus pandemic. Like I love that I called it the coronavirus pandemic to sound more professional. But
so how much would you charge to be Mark Zuckerberg's butt slave?
Mark Zuckerberg. So this is a very different scenario than what I asked you, because you're calling me the butt slave, when in reality,
all right, we'll okay. Just give him the quick 1-2 Zuck suck.
No, but there's a difference between sex partner and butt slave, okay? there's a difference on receiving and giving to the Zuck, And I think that they have very different rates. But I'm not going to... Gentlemen don't disclose prices, okay? I'm going to say... Oh, at least individual prices. I'm going to say an average of about $10,000 an hour. I think that's a very fair rate for Mark Zuckerberg.
Man, it'd be the easiest money ever.
That's the thing. Like, prostitution, you could have moral judgments against it, but like if you're making that much money, none of this matters.
So I'm just saying,
it's like Carl from Aqua Teen.
Zuckerberg, if you're watching this shit,
the thing about Zuckerberg is that he's watching, but he's not actually watching. You know,
we're ready for you and your penis.
No, I'm not.